All right. I'm Rebecca Hay, and I've built a successful interior design business by trial and error, podcasts, online courses, and so many freaking books. Over the last decade, I've grown from an insecure student to having false starts to careers, and now I'm finally in the place where I want to be. Throughout my journey, it's been pretty obvious that I'm passionate about business and helping other entrepreneurs do the same. Each week, I'll share tangible takeaways from my own experience and the experiences of other badass women to help you build your confidence and change your business. All right, we're here. Welcome to the podcast, Angela. I'm excited to chat with you.
I know, me too. I've been looking forward to it for days.
Amazing. So before we dive into all things, why
Yes.
don't you just briefly introduce yourself to my audience?
Sure. I'm a style coach for high achieving women, primarily executives, founders, entrepreneurs, that type of thing. We talk about how to dress for your body shape, how to show up being visible, representing your personal brand or your business brand, and then just making sure they always feel 100% confident when they're with clients, and all of that. So in a nutshell.
I love this. I feel like my designers listening are also going to love this. I don't know, like you can speak more to this, but it's definitely something that I've seen in probably more like the last 2 to 3 years, a real awareness of business owners, especially interior designers, a real awareness around how we show up like on Instagram, on our website, in person is a reflection of our brand and how, because everyone's become so visible, perhaps. I don't know. I'd love to hear your take on this sort of transition. It does seem like that has become so much more important than it
Yes.
used to be.
I completely agree. And it's hard to say, is it because we're all on social media more, or we're all speaking more, or and all of that, or is it because it's gotten so incredibly noisy out there, right? Like, you think about how many more people you're competing with for business, for attention, for all of that today versus, I mean, I started in 2017. So I think about, like, in that chunk of time, like, all of a sudden, everybody's a decorator, everybody's a designer, and all of that. So absolutely. So that whole visibility piece, the way I look at it and the way I talk to my clients about it is, you know, you have to see, it used to be you have to see somebody 3 to 5 times, and then you would remember their name and you would remember what they do. But now when you scroll through Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever, you're inundated with 300 people, and it takes so much longer for clients to recognize your face and then realize what you do, and then get to the point where, oh, when I'm ready to hire a designer, I know exactly who I'm going to. You have to see them so much more often. So that whole thing of having a very consistent, visible brand image is critical now, even more than it used to be.
So like, how much would you say your wardrobe, your hair,
Yes.
your makeup is a part of your brand image? Like, I think of branding, pre 2017, which was really about your website, right? It was about your website. Maybe it was about your lawn sign as an interior designer. And maybe it was about the papers, like the PDFs that you would have, or any of your collateral. But I feel like it's shifted, as you just said. And so, how much of your brand appearance on your physical body matters?
Right. So when you're speaking to the masses, it's critical, right? So if you are a decorator and you're like cheerful and bright and modern and all of that, and your brand colors are, let's just say, you know, bright yellow and navy blue, and you sit there and you see somebody, like, oh, that's that girl, she has a yellow scarf on, and it starts to, like, just subliminally, in like, with your clients or your potential clients, you say, oh, that's that girl with the yellow on again, that's that girl with the yellow on again. When you're one-on-one with a client, it's less important, right? Because that's just you and them. I mean, and you've gotten to that stage with them that they're getting ready to hire you. But for that top of the funnel, for that trying to create brand awareness and be exposed to potential audiences, it's that consistency is just critical. I can't, like, express it enough. It's so important.
So what would you say to the designer who has a certain taste for how they dress,
Yes.
but then how they decorate or design homes isn't the same.
Okay. I love that. And I just want to say I have several retainer clients who are decorators and designers. They're some of my very favorite people to work with because I think there's so many similarities between what you guys do and what we do. So I think it just makes for like this like really beautiful relationship. So let's just use an example. So I have one of my retainer clients that's a decorator. She has several different things going on. So she absolutely sees one-on-one clients. Mostly they're more high-end ones, like her team takes care of some of the smaller projects and that type of thing. But she also does stage presentations. And she also has like a network of designers that she helps mentor and grow. So she has really three different buckets that, she has to dress for and represent her brand for. So when she's in that, I'm pitching my services, I'm getting the message out about what my brand style is and all of that. It's more important that there's some sort of a connection. If and this is probably your listeners are probably going to be like, oh my God, what a horrible example. But say, for example, a designer is like has a very modern aesthetic when she does houses, but then she dresses and she's like very like soft and feminine and all of that. There's absolutely some cognitive dissonance there where the clients are going to be like, I don't know, like I'm not
Mm.
sure she's going to be able to decorate my house in that like modern clean style. So
Oh my God. Okay. This is so interesting. I think it's such a great conversation. We have not had this conversation on the podcast yet that I'm aware of with
oh good.
such intention. I have
Yeah.
had a designer. We did have an episode with Tiffany Lee Design early on where she talked about when she started to dress in her brand colors and how it really
Yes.
shifted her branding. But we haven't really talked to a stylist about this. So my experience, and I'm
Mhm.
interested in your take on this,
Yeah.
for my own personal brand and interior design, I'm someone who historically has loved to dress in colors, bright colors. People have always said to me like, "Wow, that color looks great on you." And so I've always been someone who wants to dress in like lots of colors and casual. But then with my interior design projects, I was noticing I started my business back in 2014. Um, you know, as I started to hone in on my personal design aesthetic for clients, it really was very Nantucket coastal, navy and white and green. Like it was like J. Crew, like super classic, very preppy, still is today. And that I started to recognize. And then I was intentional with my designs and my website. But what was happening in my brain, I realized like there was a disconnect and that I was dressing different than my designs. And so tell me if this is good, but now I find I'm much more thoughtful about when I'm going to show up on my podcast, like the video here. If you're watching on YouTube, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
On my Instagram, when I go to a client's house, when I do a stage, anything, I am now finding that I'm wearing more blue and white. Like right now, I'm wearing a striped collared shirt and
Mhm.
I'm dressing, and I love the look. But at the same time, I kind of miss all the pops of color. Like, am I overthinking it, or is that smart to be intentional like that?
Rebecca, it's 100% brilliant. And so there's a couple things that popped up when you were talking about that. And I think it's just a brilliant example. So the first thing is that when we first start our business, right, we're still trying to figure out, to your point, like you were figuring out what your design aesthetic was. And then also, the more popular and the busier and the more successful you got, there was also more opportunities to be visible, right? So those two things kind of like, hold hands as that you're walking down the business building path. So, but that intention, I think, is so critical. If when somebody is attracted to your design style and then they see you, there has to be some union there. So there's that. And then you had said something else. No, you're not overthinking it. Oh, you miss your colors. I completely, no, completely. On the flip side, though, you think about it, like if you worked in an office, you would be wearing, office wear. And then on the weekends, you would get to do whatever you want. So don't miss those colors. But, maybe that's just like evening wear when you're going out with your girlfriends for a cocktail or when you're hanging out with the family on the weekend. Then you can use like all the color that you want. So,
I love that. Okay. I feel very good. Thank you. I feel like A little pat on
Okay,
my
good.
back that I've been
Yes,
so intentional.
absolutely. Absolutely.
It does take extra thought though, right? Like it does take a little bit of planning. And so
It does.
it gets me thinking about this idea of that capsule wardrobe. You know, everyone talks about like a capsule wardrobe. And
Yep.
every morning when I open, this happened this morning, I open my closet because I don't
Yes.
set my clothes out the night before. I do set my gym clothes out though. So at least I do move in the morning. But then I open the closet and I'm like, I don't know what to wear. And
Yes.
so it's like I have too much and it feels overwhelming.
Yes.
And so then I feel like I have this battle, and someone listening might have this too, where I look at my closet and I'm like, okay, I feel like let me show up in the preppy stripes. Like I'm just going to gravitate to that. I know it works. But then at the same time, I'm like, well, what's going to look good on me? And I want to feel confident in my body. And
Yes.
so sometimes, and maybe I need to do an overhaul of my closet because the brand look that I want, I don't
Mhm.
have in the pieces that I find are as flattering on me. So like,
Okay.
what do you suggest people kind of purge their closets? Like, how do we get here so it doesn't feel overwhelming?
Rebecca, oh my gosh, so much goodness in that. So, okay. First things first, okay, so I have a 5-step process that I take all of my clients through, and it starts with body shape. Because really, I mean, that is the foundation for a closet that you love. So you have to understand your body shape and then understand the styles and the silhouettes that are going to look best on it. So that's the very first thing. So the other thing though is when you were talking about purging and buying new things and all of that, one of the things that I ask my clients not to do is no shopping. This is not like I'm not, I mean, I absolutely shop for some of my clients, but that's not what this is about. It's because when you shop without intention, when you shop without a plan, that's when you get to the point where you have a closet packed with clothes and not a darn thing to wear or nothing that you love or all of that. So when
Yeah.
after I take clients through those 5 steps, then we look at their closet and say, okay, now what do we have? What do we love? What needs to go? What can we gift to somebody else who's going to get a lot more pleasure out of it than we do? And then we start that closet purge. So yes, likely most women need to clean out their closet, a couple of times a year. On the flip side, cleaning or purging or shopping without intention doesn't really move us ahead at all.
Wow, yeah, it's so true. I feel like I just went shopping and then I look at my it's almost like the more I
Yes,
have, the harder
yes,
it is to edit.
absolutely. Absolutely. Not very few women in the United States, in North America, Canada, have a lack of clothes problem. That's not the problem. It's the lack of the right clothes and also making sure that the pieces really work together. And that can be a struggle for somebody who hasn't gone through a process.
Let's talk about this idea of like this has got me thinking about re-wearing outfits because I don't know. I have times where I'm like, I have a go-to. I'm not wearing it today. It's in my bag though, because when I record podcast later, I'm going to change up my top so it looks like a different day. Secrets of a podcaster revealed right here.
Right.
Um, but it's a great like what do they call it? Like the boat neck, navy and white stripe. There's a term for those shirts. Breton, like a Breton tee, I think it's
Okay.
called.
Okay.
Anyhow, um, it's my go-to. And like I love it, but I when I wear it sometimes now, I feel like, am I over wearing this?
Okay.
Like, should I be wearing something new? Like every time people see me, the way a reality TV star does? Like, help me out here.
Okay. So we put a lot of thought into and I do the same thing when I film videos and tutorial and things like that. I'm always like, now, the last time I saw this client, did I have this outfit on? Like it goes through your mind. One of the things though is that especially when you get to a certain age and a certain success level, really the clothes are about you. They're not about everybody else. Like like when you and I see each other next week, I'm not going to remember what blouse you had on. I'll be lucky if I remember what I had on, right? So I think
Right.
sometimes we put that like need for newness and, oh, I hope I didn't have this on last time I saw that, make it more important than what it actually is, right? So, what people, potential clients, that people who are seeing us for this first time, what they pick up on is our confidence level in the outfit. So that's my little
Mm.
spiel about
I
that.
I
What I
actually
will,
love that. I love that you said that. Sorry,
okay,
because like it's so true. We assume everyone else is thinking about us.
yes,
Really, right? Like I actually don't remember anything that anybody else wears unless it stands out and I'm like, "Whoa, that coat you wore, like, wow, I want it." Otherwise,
exactly.
I don't remember. So why are people going to remember what I'm wearing?
Right. No, absolutely. Now, the one thing, especially in a situation like you with podcasting or with videos or on social media and things like that, where you're really seeing the person from the bust up, that's where accessories can really make a big difference. Like you have a gorgeous neck and décolleté with a tee like that, like mix up the scarves, mix up the earrings, things like that, that will give the viewer or the, whoever you're with, will give them something different to focus on. And that can be fun
Oh my
too.
gosh.
And it freshens up your favorite tee that you love. So
Totally. I just love that you're saying that because I literally didn't put earrings on this morning. And I was like, oh, I feel like I should wear earrings. And then I forgot and I left the house. And so now you're calling me out on it.
no, 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 not at all.
That's so funny. I love that. What about trends? Let's talk about that. Like I don't know. I feel like I go to school drop off. I have young kids.
Yes.
And you see some of the other parents, and I look over, I'm like, oh my God, look at that mom. She's so hip and cool. Like she's totally subscribed to like the baggy trend. Maybe I need that. Like, but I don't know if it fits my body shape. So then like today I'm wearing this like loose shirt and these like loose pants, and it feels a little uncharacteristic. But at the same time, I feel like, okay, like I need to keep up with the trends. I mean, I'm in my 40s. Most of the people listening to this podcast are women 40s plus. There's a few of you young folk, and thank you for joining us. But like, tell me, like, do we need to be incorporating at least some trends in what we're wearing to show up publicly and be our brand?
Okay, so I love this because trends are a hot topic, right? Like we all want to know what they are. And I think it's good, especially for decorators and designers, because when you're looking for, you want them, you like, if they don't know what the fashion trends are they going to know what the new design trends are? So there's always that. There's
Ooh,
that thought
yeah.
process. So, yes, absolutely. I want my clients to be aware of the trends. But again, it goes back to if slouchy barrel jeans do not flatter your shape, then there is zero reason to feel obligated to participate in that trend. I mean, that is something that we do in high school, in college, when we feel like we have to look like everybody else and that type of thing. When you get to our age, well, I'm older than you, but when you get to this section, like part of the joy of it is being able to say no. I'm sorry, like I love barrel jeans. I love how they look on Jennifer Aniston and this person and that person, and
Yeah.
they look like what on me. So I'm okay with bypassing that. And then the other thing is when you do know the styles that look amazing on you, then you can say, okay, well, I can't wear barrel jeans, but I can rock a flared leg denim all day long or whatever the
Yes,
situation is.
bring back. I love that that's back. I mean,
Oh,
hello,
me too.
flared leg. It's so flattering, especially if you have hips.
Yes, yes.
Although I look like a teenager when I wear my flare jeans.
And
Everyone's like,
what
"Oh, Rebecca, look at your jeans." I'm like, "I know. Is that a good thing?"
no, and it's funny that you should say that because that is exactly who I recommend flared leg jeans to. Anybody who has a curvier, hip and thigh area, because that balance is just so beautiful, so gorgeous.
Totally.
So yes. Uh-huh.
Oh my God, totally. That's so funny. Okay, so as interior designers, there's this trend happening, and it's been going on for a little while
Okay.
in our industry with
Yes.
color,
Yes.
more aptly described as lack of color. And
Mhm.
so there's kind of been this overarching trend of darker tones, neutrals, muted, maybe mustards are coming back, browns are coming back in decor, like taupe, very neutral, blah
Oh my
colors.
gosh. Okay, so can I just say it's hysterical that like taupe was like the pop of color in all of that you just listed. You're
I
like,
know, right?
I was like, oh, that's not what I was expecting.
It's just
Okay.
like it's this like moody, muted, like amber interiors vibe.
Mhm.
And it's certain influencers that are doing a really great job at it. And now a lot of our industry is like jumping on that bandwagon. For a while it was that Studio McGee look, and now it's this other vibe. But like, how much do we need to follow those trends? Like I see my peers, and I'll run into them at a fabric showroom or a furniture showroom. And she's wearing this beautiful like oatmeal cashmere sweater. I'm like, and I look at her and I think, wow, you really look like a designer. And meanwhile, there I am in my blue and white nautical, which is not exactly on trend. And that's like a different trend. Like how tied in do you think we need to be to I'm getting a little bit into design trends, I guess, for interiors, but is it okay to not jump on that bandwagon and be one of the taupe people?
Right, right. So, and I don't know if you feel the same way, but my decorator designer clients hate it when I talk about HGTV. They hate it. They're like, it's like the
Of
evil.
course. Yeah.
And it also serves as a great example. So you'll look at the different designers on HGTV, and they all have like that same, like, oh, we're going to knock down all the walls and we're going to do this, that, and the other thing, right? If somebody said, if they had their own TV show and they said, you know what, I'm going to build a wall, I am going to paint the cabinets like bright yellow or purple or whatever, they would really stand out. And I think that when it comes to growing your business, anything that you can do to stand out is critical, right? Like, I mean, I look at, and I mean, I think it's a little bit similar. Like I look at other stylists' websites and they're all very white. And like the brightest piece of color that they have is maybe not taupe, but it's like, like another shade of white.
Mhm.
And then I look at mine and it's pink and I'm like, ooh, is it too bright? Is it too in your face? Blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? They'll probably remember me more than they will the 20 stylists that they looked at that,
Mhm.
they were all, black, white, and beige or something. So no, I think standing out is imperative. And let's be honest, there's going to come a time when people are like, you know what? I want some navy in my life. I want Rebecca to come in here and make me feel like I live in Nantucket. So,
Yes.
but
Yes.
that's
And then they
just,
can fly me to Nantucket to do their house in Nantucket. That's a
yes,
sidebar. Actually, I think
absolutely.
I just want to have my own house there. Actually, now that I've thought about it, I don't want to deal with like cross-border design. I can refer those clients to designers I know. I just want to have my own place. But anyhow, we digress. But I think you make a good point, Angela, is like this idea that um, you're going to stand out, but also just to add to what you said is it's important to stand out because you're going to attract the people who want you, right? If you try to be somebody else with your design aesthetic or
Right.
with your own ensemble, then you're
Yes.
going to end up attracting the wrong people because you're not being true and authentic to who you are. So me dressing up in like, I don't know, a beige trench coat with like a mustard sweater and like
Right.
taupe pants or trousers would look lovely, probably. Mind you, it doesn't work with my skin tone. I would look dead, right? So there's that. But
Yes.
it would, maybe I would be attracting clients who want that. And then I would be having to design and work with someone who
Yes.
doesn't actually have the same design eye
Yes.
as me. And so I think
Yes.
that's also something that's to consider, right?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And there's going to come a point where, like, that's beige isn't trendy anymore, and she's going to have to switch. Like whoever that is. And you said something interesting, which I love, the whole thing of, oh, she looks like a designer. So this comes up a lot with clients when they're like, they have somebody aspirational, whether it's somebody famous or somebody in their industry or somebody who's just aspirational to them. And we always try to nail it down and say, well, what is it about her that makes her look like a designer? Or what is it about her that when she's on stage giving a keynote presentation, that you feel like she looks so polished and pulled together? Sometimes I think and you guys probably experience the same thing when somebody like a client's trying to design the aesthetic that they're looking for in their house. And you're like, yeah, that doesn't say enough. Like, let's dig deeper into those words and find out what that really means. Same thing with your style. When you're looking at, I want people to see me and see a designer or decorator. What is it about that person or that feel in and of itself that's going to make you look, like give you that feel? And then once we know what that is, whether it's a great accessory, whether it's very like clean minimal lines because that works with your body shape, whatever that is, then once it's locked in, then you can really embrace it. And then to your point, build a closet full of those pieces that you love to wear.
Yeah, I love that. And I think also when you're looking for a stylist, like someone like you to help you, because I have seen, at least like in my city, there's been a few stylists that have sort of popped up on the radar working with a bunch of designers. Oh, it's someone's birthday. Woo! If you're
I
not
know, I have
watching
no
on
idea.
YouTube, there's balloons everywhere. Thank you, Facebook or
I,
whatever. But is this is the same thing. Like when you're looking for a style, like there's these stylists that have popped up in the last year or so that are doing beautiful work. And I've even my own mind thought, oh, maybe I should work with them or maybe I should hire them. But then the second thought I have is, oh, but are they going to make me look like all those other clients? Because
Mhm.
that's not my vibe. And so I've held back from doing that. Also, I think I've got a pretty good handle now than I did before, but because I realized I'm like, if that's the only look that she does and it's not my look, then I
Mhm.
don't know. Like she might try to push, and I don't know. I didn't pick up the phone to call this person or these people, but they might try to
Right.
push their tastes on you. Like, talk to me about that as a stylist yourself. Like, how much of it is you sort of directing the, I don't know, the look and the fashion,
Mhm.
and how
Mhm.
much of it is you pulling it from the client and what they like? Or is it a bit
Yes.
of both?
Oh my gosh, this is so good. So, and I think that sometimes happens with like people who are newer to the industry. Like if they just started styling, and it's probably the same thing with decorators, like they just started decorating, a lot of their stuff looks and feels alike. For my clients, it's all about them. It doesn't, like if they say like, "Oh, I like that dress that you had on, but I would never wear it for myself." That's totally fine. Your body is different. One of my 5 steps is really refining your style, because once a woman can articulate what her personal style is, what her brand style is, it makes everything so much easier. So one of the exercises that I go through with my clients is they pick 3 adjectives to describe their personal style. Now, when it's somebody who's representing their brand with a visibility, then we really make sure we work with the brand thesaurus that they have and their personal style and figure out where that meshes together. But say, for example, I have a client who says, I want to look edgy and dramatic. That is going to look very different. The clothes that I pick out for her is going to look very different than somebody who says, I'm a lawyer and I need to look smart and credible and
Mm.
serious. It's going to look very, very different. So it's actually not about me at all. The other thing too is like, and I know I'm talking about body shape again, but it all comes back to their body shape. So what looks good on me and what looks good on you, or 10 other of my clients, is going to be very, very different. So it's kind of that like beautiful melding of what your personal brand is and your body shape and what you feel comfortable in, because you go to sites for installs, you go to client meetings, you do your podcast. So you have very different buckets, and the clothes that are going to work in those 3 different buckets are going to look very different. So we have to make sure that you feel confident and comfortable in all of the things that you guys do.
I love that. I love that. It's so funny. As soon as you said pick 3 adjectives, I wrote
Yes,
them down. And then you said that edgy and dramatic. And I was like, ooh, gosh, no, that's like the opposite. I wrote classic, preppy, and fun.
I love that. See, absolutely. No, absolutely. Then and this is probably my favorite process with clients, is taking those words and then translating what those words mean to the client into actual clothes. And that's where really the beauty and the magic of finding your personal style comes into play, because fun for you is going to be very different than what I think of when I think of fun.
Right.
And it doesn't matter what I think of. It's all that matters is
Yeah.
what you think of. So you being able to visually express to me what fun means to you, that's where we really start nailing it down. So
I love that. I love that you
yeah,
said that because it's no different than as a designer. I often say to designers, you want to find out what style your clients want, right? Or they like, especially if you're, earlier on and they're not coming to you for your style. And, oftentimes, you'll get the client that says, oh, I like modern farmhouse. Well, what modern farmhouse means to one person could be very different than what modern farmhouse means to another. And if you don't have visuals to represent, that's why I find visuals really helpful. If you can show pictures to clients of different decors and they say, I love this. Okay, what about this do you love? Because
right.
someone might think like traditional country is, or French country is modern farmhouse, where someone else might think it's an industrial vibe. You don't really know. So I love that you said that and that you asked those questions. It's true. Like as I was writing fun on the paper, I was like, oh, what do I mean by that? Do I mean like sparkly and glittery? Do I mean pops of color? Right? Do I mean
Right.
flowers? And like, I think you would need to get specific about that.
Absolutely. Does it mean mixed prints? I love to like mix a floral with a plaid and fun can
Ooh, that
be,
sounds bold.
yes.
I'm not bold.
But do you know what I mean? It can mean very different things. It's so funny that you should say that. So one of my clients, I think she picked the word, and this is the other thing, and you might experience this too. with my clients, we really have to get specific. So they'll start off with the whole, like, say they start off with fun, and then we dig into that and what that really means. And so with this one client I'm thinking of, and she's super fun to shop for, but she refined fun down to quirky. And one,
Mm.
like her quirky thing was she loved bright colored tights. So,
That is quirky. That is
right?
so unique. That is super specific.
And absolutely. And it's such a signature for her. So now when I see her on social and she has bright colored tights on with every single outfit, I'm like, I completely notice her. I mean, of course I know, but but I notice her and I know her potential clients do too. And it's just such a unique standout point for her. So
Okay, I have so many questions right now in my brain. I have one more
good.
big question I want to ask you, but
Yes.
then I don't want to forget to talk about prepping for brand photo shoots because that's
Yes. Yes.
something that
Yes.
designers are always like thinking about and how many outfits
Yep.
do we need and blah, blah, all the shots and all that. I want to talk about that. If we
Yes.
run out of time, I feel like that also might be something that would be useful for you to come inside designers room, which is my community of designers, and talk about
I
because
would love
we do
it.
like workshops every month for designers. And I think that would be a really great topic, like paired with like a brand photographer. Anyhow,
It
my
is.
brain is just going at like, how can I learn more from you? But I
Oh,
would
I
love
love
to
that.
hear. So you said like you work with and you pick outfits for clients. Like, are you physically with these clients, like going to the mall? Do you go for them? Do
Mhm.
you tell them what to buy? Do you need to be in person? Can you do things virtually? Like, talk to me about this process.
Yes. So, thanks for asking. So, everything I do anymore is virtual. And that obviously changed in 2020. But before that, it was probably half and half, but now it's all virtual. So, when I walk new clients through the 5 step process, at the end of it, they get a style lookbook, which is much like a branding book for their business. It talks about, like the different shapes, the different styles, the color palettes, the accessories that is your signature, and how we put it all together. After that, they have the choice of becoming a retainer client with me. And when those that decide to do that, then yes, I shop for them. It ties it a lot into the brand photo shoot because with a successful brand photo shoot is all about planning ahead. Same type of thing for these busy women who don't have time to shop or flat out just don't like to shop. We need to know what you have on your calendar, what you need outfits for. By that point, we've already gone through a closet edit, so I know what they own, I know what they don't own, and then I send them. It's a fun. I think it's fun. I think they think it's fun too. But say, for example, Rebecca, you needed a new blazer for whatever event you're going to. So then I'll send them, a shoppable page with several different options that work with your body shape that are in the colors that we were talking about. And then they can just click to buy and it's a piece of cake.
Mhm.
So it
Mhm.
makes it very easy. And especially when it comes to, because I mean, you were saying like a lot of your listeners are in that 40 plus range. That's when dressing for your body shape changes because of, there can be hormonal changes. There can just be, like whatever, less activity, more activity, weight starts to shift around and things like that.
Or
And
layers for hot flashes,
yes,
right? Dress in
exactly.
layers.
Exactly. So weight starts to shift around and things like that. So it's nice to be able to say, okay, well, this used to look great on me. This is what looks good on me now. So did
Okay,
that
that's
answer
so
your
interesting.
question?
Yeah, I think so. And like
Okay.
the edit, so like how do you edit someone's wardrobe without like I have a girlfriend in
Mhm.
Toronto, a neighbor who's really great with like style and fashion, and she kind of dabbles in that a little. And
Okay.
she in the past has come into my bedroom with me and helped me literally physically take everything out of my closet. Decide, which is such a freaking big. I haven't probably done it since because it's so much work, except for
Yes.
when I renovated and I had no choice. But and like put the right things back in, and she helped me put together some outfits. This was like probably 6 years ago, and
Mhm.
like it was a very valuable experience. But I recognize you can't physically be there. Like, how do you do that aspect of like how do you help people audit their closet? Are they like zooming with you, FaceTiming, sending pictures? Like, what does that look like?
A little bit of everything. So after, and you know, so many times women feel like I don't know how to dress my body. I don't know how to shop. I don't know all of that. And it's almost like women pop out of the womb and are just expected to know how to shop or what things are going to look flattering on them. And that's one of the reasons why I like to look at what I do more as coaching versus shopping. Because again, it's not, we don't have a shopping problem. We have a knowing what looks good on us problem. And, and then not buying things that are outside of that little circle. So once you know, like just say for Rebecca, an instance, Rebecca. So say, for example, you know that flared jeans look amazing on you. You also like a straight leg jean and something else. So then it's easy once you know that. And once you say, you know what, this is why those skinny jeans didn't look great on me, is because, they're not my preferred pant formula. It's easy to get rid of those things. So initially, the client will start like just mentally purging what she knows isn't right for her closet anymore. Then we make a list of things that like might be gaps and like holes, like okay, we definitely need more staple basics that make it mixing and matching easier for you. So we need this kind of tee, this kind of blouse, blah blah blah. So we start to make a list. Then they also do outfit audits. So they'll say, okay, so I have this skirt and I have this blouse. I've been wearing it together. It should flatter me, but I'm just not sure if it does. So we go back and forth a lot. They'll take a mirror selfie. I'll get back to them. I'll send them a video and say, okay, I like this. Try these shoes instead. I think that's going to be more flattering with it. Try these accessories. We go back and forth a lot that
Oh
way.
my God. Okay, cool.
So yeah.
Oh my God, shoes. That's the one thing. I always feel like I never have the right shoes.
Oh,
I struggle with shoes. Isn't that funny? Most women have so many shoes, and I have like
yes.
5 pairs of shoes, and they're mostly running shoes because I don't wear heels. I don't wear
Oh,
anything with a heel. I'm over
okay.
that. I don't do it. I
Okay.
did that when I used to run a restaurant, and I had so many back problems that like I just don't do it anymore. But
Right.
that is something I struggle with. It's something I wouldn't think. So you can help with shoes. That's really good to know.
It's the full package. It's
The
funny
full
though, you say that, yes, most women do have a bajillion shoes. You have 5 pairs and wear all 5 pairs. They have a bajillion and wear 5 pairs. So
right. Yeah,
it's
I know. I just
it
hate spending money. Anyways, that's a whole other thing. Actually, okay, I have so many questions and we're going to run out of time. So let me just that. Then I do want to talk about brand photo shoots.
okay, good.
Money. Let's talk about the money
Yes.
because clothing can be expensive.
Yep.
And so are you able to work with clients who have different budgets and help them? Or does it
Yep.
all have to be investment pieces?
No, no. And what we do is we look at the budget, we figure out what are our, and obviously, I mean, some people are like, okay, I want, like we want to pick out everything, everything that's on my to-do list. I want to get it all taken care of, which can bring some other issues too that I'll try to circle back to. But say, for example, your budget for the quarter is $500. This is the list of things that we need. What are priorities? Like, what are the things that we need to mark off the list now? When it comes to an unlimited budget, that just creates other issues, right? Because then you're like, oh my gosh, I want to check off everything on my must have list immediately. And it's not a race, right? The majority of my clients are in the mindset of I would rather have, a black tee that's going to last me for, the entire season than one that I get at, like Walmart and I wash it once and whatever. No,
Totally.
no offense to Walmart, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
but we really look at the budget and what are the must-haves. And it's okay. Like I said, it's not a race. A
Yeah.
race
I
is
love
what got our closet into a mess in the first place. So,
Totally. Or you're like, oh, it's such a good deal. I'll throw
oh,
in this and I'll throw in that. It's 50% off. And all this clothing arrives. And then you get it and you're like, you wear the sweater once and then it starts to pill and it loses its shape. And it's like, well, you should have just saved all that money and bought one really nice sweater
right,
that's going
right.
to last you 10 years. Anyhow,
Yes.
we digress. Okay. I
Amen,
want to talk about
girl.
brand photo shoots. Talk to me about how people can prepare. I have done several brand photo shoots in the
Mhm,
time I've been in my business.
mhm.
I always struggle with what to wear in them.
Of
I
course.
have had the girl who does my hair color will sometimes help me style and she's great with that.
Okay.
But I I mean the only thing that I know about a brand photo shoot when it comes to clothing is have as many outfits as possible because then you can maximize the
Yes.
photos every which way. But what are your tips for like preparing your brand wardrobe for a photo shoot?
Yep. I actually have a whole workshop about this. So there's a lot that goes into it. What I will say, the two pieces, I want your listeners to walk away with two things that they can do. The first one is they don't, most women, especially when it comes to the clothes, they're worried about how much do I weigh? What am I going to do with my hair? who's going to do, they're focused on that type of thing. And clothes can sometimes get pushed to the very last thing.
Totally.
And it's
Totally.
critical to start taking care of like, what am I going to wear? Not only does it go with your, like your website design or your social media messaging, but that you get a chance to try it on. So if you're going to order it online, that it's going to arrive in enough time that if the brand is like this style and this brand happens to be running small and I need to like order a larger size or a smaller size or whatever, that I have time to try everything on all together with plenty of time to make alterations, return anything that I don't need and all of that. So really like, start 6 weeks before the photo shoot and start thinking about what you're going to wear and plan it out. That's the first thing that, clients are, they'll be
So
like,
don't leave it to the morning of and just grab a bunch of things from your closet, because that's usually what I do. And then you're right, I get anxious because I'm
yes,
like, oh, I don't feel like I look good. And like, why is this like bulging? And oh my God, the shirt that I want to wear is so wrinkled and I don't have time to iron it. This is legit my life. I never
well,
plan the clothing. Like I just don't. I feel like I've got so many other things in my brain.
yes,
The outfits are not the first thing that I do. So this
right.
is really interesting. This makes sense.
And ironic, really, when you think about it, because the clothing is what's going to have you taking great pictures, not because of how you look so much as how you feel, right? The better, more confident that you feel during the photo shoot, the better,
Yeah.
the photographs will be. So it's so critical. But to your point, owning a business, having a family, having kids, so, do you know what I mean? Like you do have a lot on your plate. So don't like give yourself a little bit of grace on
Yeah,
that
yeah.
one. So
Okay, so
there's
that's the
that.
first thing.
Yes, give
Get your
yourself
outfits
grace and plan
in
ahead.
advance. In advance. Get your
Yes.
outfits in advance. Try them on. Oh my God. Such
Yes.
basic advice, but so brilliant.
Well, and then the second piece that, because I think this is another critical piece that sometimes women forget, is to take a mirror selfie. Try the entire outfit on and take a mirror selfie. And it doesn't have to be a brilliant mirror selfie, but just so that you can see yourself from head to toe. That's critical because proportion in photos and proportion in real life are two completely different things. And what you feel comfortable in and what you think looks great in real life can look overpowering. It can look frumpy. It can look too busy. It can look all of those things. So, not to say that your mirror selfie is going to be to the status of your photographer, but
Hopefully not.
it
Hopefully your
gives you
photographer is better than that, but yeah.
yes, right. But it gives you the idea of what it's going to look like. And if you need to tweak it, that way you can. So those are the two
Okay.
things I want out of all of the steps. Those are the two things I want your listeners to keep in
Okay.
mind.
I love that. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so helpful. Oh my gosh. We're totally going to have you into designer's room. You and I can talk about that offline.
I can't
Um,
wait.
I love this. Okay. So at the end
Good.
of every episode,
Yes.
we always ask our guests to
Yes.
share a last nugget of wisdom. Do you have a nugget of wisdom for us today?
Oh my gosh, this was probably the most stressful part of preparing for your interview was coming up with like, oh my
I
gosh,
don't
a
mean to
nugget of
put
wisdom.
pressure. It's just such a fun little thing.
I need it to be really, really good. So I came up with a lot of things, but the thing I want your listeners to really know is that what they're doing is incredible and they are making such an incredible difference in their clients' lives. And just to keep going, because being an entrepreneur, being in, starting your own company, it is not easy, but it is so incredibly worth it. And just to know that there are so many people cheering them on. So I'm
I
cheering
love
them
that.
on.
That's such great advice. Thank you
Okay,
so,
good.
so much. Thank you for being my guest today on the podcast. Can you let everybody who's listening know where they can find and follow you?
Yes, absolutely. So I hang out on LinkedIn and I do have a free gift for your listeners, which I think is funny because I talked about body shape for 30% of the time, but I actually have a body shape quiz that and it's super fast. It's not like one of those surveys that has, 100 questions and it's going to take you an hour and a half. It's 7 questions, takes less than 2 minutes, and they'll be redirected to a personalized video that says these are some things to keep in mind when you're dressing to flatter your body shape best. And they can get that at angelafoster.co/Rebecca.
Oh, I love that. Okay, guys, you
Yes.
heard that here. Go there. I'm going to go as soon as we're done. AngelaFoster.co/Rebecca. You guys can't forget that. That is so good. And we will also include that link in the show notes so
Perfect.
people can go and grab it. And thank you so much for joining me today. We will definitely be having you back.
I can't wait. Thank you, Rebecca.
All right. Did you guys like that episode? I really felt so reassured that I'm on the right path talking to Angela. It is amazing that transformation that I've seen other designers go through, where all of a sudden they started to dress more like their brand, and it elevated the look of the overall brand with intentionality. It's something that I'm constantly working on, and I am now inspired. So thank you, Angela. I'm inspired to do a closet purge. And guys, if you are with me and you felt inspired to go through your closet too, hit me up on Instagram, send me a DM. I always love to hear which episodes resonate. And of course, please review the podcast, give us a 5-star rating, leave a comment, let other designers and creatives know what it is about this podcast that you like. Why do you tune in every week? Why do you listen? And what episodes are you loving the most? But definitely let me know if you're going to purge your closet. I'm probably going to share this experience inside Designer's Room because it's a little personal inside my closet. And I can't wait to have Angela join us for a workshop inside Designer's Room. If you guys want to hear more from Angela, definitely go find and follow her. Take the quiz. I am going to take that quiz as soon as I'm done recording today to figure out the best clothes for my body type. And join us inside Designer's Room. Just go to RebeccaHay.com and you can find the link there. We'd love to welcome you. Okay, thanks a lot. See you soon.